My name is Michael Riley, and I am the training manager for Mistras, the largest non-destructive testing company in the U.S. The NDT industry is very competitive. Many companies offer the same services, there are a lot of companies for clients to choose from, and it's relatively easy industry to get into. Many NDT companies are forced to keep their costs as low as possible to gain even small increases in their profit margin. One way that NDT companies can reduce their operating costs is by reducing the amount of hours their employees spend in the classroom away from billable work. Over a 5-year period, a single employee can potentially spend over 200 hours in a classroom. That works out to about $8,000 in lost billable hours for each employee. As you can imagine, this creates a large financial burden for most companies. The time away from billable work can be cut in half with blended learning. The employee can take a course online and participate in an instructor-led course to obtain the required hours. Half of the course time is spent in a class, and half of the course time can be spent online on their own time. The blended learning plan will consist of giving a prepaid customer access to an online course for 90 days and an instructor-led course. The combination of the two courses will meet the industry standard training outline. Once the student has completed the online course and the instructor-led course, they will receive a certificate of completion which will state the amount of training hours that they have received. Before I go any further, I want to explain that NDT, or non-destructive testing, is simply testing an object without destroying it, like an X-ray of a hand or a sonogram of a baby. The industry I am referring to is industrial. We test everything from bridge welds to airplane engine mounts. The company I work for, Mistras, has 6 Learn Centers. I believe that if each Learn Center was to provide blended learning to our customers, we could provide something that no other NDT school is offering. When blended learning is implemented, it means that the employee can study on their own time. This equates to less time away from the client site where they are billable. Not only does this benefit the bottom line, but it also reduces the chances of upsetting customers by taking employees away from their work sites for extended periods of time. Non-destructive certification training is deeply connected to industries like oil and gas, aerospace, power generation, and construction. These industries are heavily regulated by federal and state regulations, which all require that their infrastructure be inspected initially and sometimes on a regular basis, and that the inspectors be certified. So even when an industry is struggling with a financial crisis, like oil and gas is now, they still must contract inspection services. These regulatory requirements help our non-destructive inspection industry stay in demand and profitable. The industry is expected to grow 6.6% in 2015 and grow an annualized 6.8% in the 5 years to 2020 to $2.6 billion. Even with faltering oil prices, the NDT industry profit is estimated to remain at 12% of revenue. For basic and advanced NDT training, Mistras will target smaller companies that don't have the infrastructure to train their own employees in-house. Mistras will also target the 2 larger NDT companies with our advanced NDT training. For basic and advanced NDT training, Mistras will target smaller companies that don't have the infrastructure to train their own employees in-house. We expect that this will be our largest market segment. Over the nearly 2,000 NDT businesses in the U.S., over 99% of them would be considered small companies with less than 100 employees. These smaller companies often don't have the infrastructure to provide their employees with basic and advanced certification training. We will target the two larger NDT companies with our advanced NDT training. These companies do have the infrastructure to train their own people for the basic methods, and often they have the resources to provide advanced training, but not always. While we don't expect to get a lot of work from this market segment, we do expect that these companies will still come to the University of Ultrasonics for advanced ultrasonic testing training as they do now. Another market segment that we will concentrate on is manufacturing. Very often, manufacturing companies perform non-destructive testing in-house on the products they make. These companies almost never have the infrastructure to perform their own certification training. While we do not know the size of this market, we do understand that they are potential customers. The non-destructive industry is made up of approximately 1,800 businesses, which is made up of nearly 28,000 employees that support or perform non-destructive testing. Marketing plan is that Mistras Group Incorporated is able to distinguish itself from its competitors by offering standardized, high-quality blended learning. Other companies offer training online or in the classroom, but never both, and our competitors don't offer their training in as many convenient locations as we can, with our 6 offices located all over the United States, which are often conveniently located near large industries that require non-destructive testing. Advertising will continue to be performed in the industry magazine, Material Evaluation. This magazine is used to provide the customer with course dates, locations, and course costs. Any company that provides non-destructive testing is a potential competitor. Mistras will be competing with companies that provide online training or distance learning programs, individual independent training consultants, national training companies, community colleges that provide NDT training, and anyone that works for and performs training in the targeted companies themselves. Our advantage is that we acquired the University of Ultrasonics, which has an excellent reputation in the field of ultrasonic testing and comes with its own customers, trainers, and offices. By expanding the courses that the University of Ultrasonics provides, Mistras will be able to increase their market share by meeting the needs of more customers. Our advantage over our competitors is our multiple locations, our staff, and our training department that is constantly working on creating training and testing materials. Mistras's core competence and segment are providing training for companies that need to get their employees trained but don't have the infrastructure to do so, or companies that see the cost savings of our blended learning approach. Also, it is the blended learning that differentiates us from our competitors. In the first quarter of 2016, we will work with the University of Ultrasonics and begin providing blended learning courses for 2 NDT methods. We will attempt to offer 2 new methods a quarter to our Learn Centers. In the same year, we will also open up an office in Jacksonville, Florida. In 2017, we will open our 8th office in Denver, Colorado. There are 2 risks that are associated with expansion. First, there is the risk of flooding the market with training and creating cannibalism. The concern is that by opening too many labs, Mistras could take away income from the customers that the current University of Ultrasonics would typically get. Secondly, the expansion there is a risk that the quality of the program could be tough to keep up to a high standard. Since training is usually chosen by our customers by word of mouth, it is important that the training Mistras provides always be a positive experience. As can be seen in this income statement, our first year shows a net profit of $686,000. Net profit increases to $1.4 million in 2018 after the expense of opening the 2 new Learn Centers in 2016 and 2017 have been accomplished. The cash flow is in the black from the beginning of the project and reaches an impressive $7.9 million in 2020. Total amount being sought is $408,000 in financing for the expansion of one training center in 2016 and a second training center in 2017. They ask, the training department would like to open a new training center in 2016, another one in 2017. We would like to focus our efforts on providing blended learning courses for all of the NDT methods that we currently provide. The total cost for opening 2 new offices is $408,000. The initial cost for opening both offices is $128,000, which includes a year lease for a building to teach in, flaw samples, test equipment, and teaching materials. The working capital needed is $280,000 and covers the staff for the opening of the 2 new offices. These investments equate to a potential net profit of $686,000 in 2016 and increases to $1.4 million in 2020. MISTRAS's current 3 University of Ultrasonic locations are doing well financially, and this suggests that this would be an excellent expansion opportunity for the company. The new offices will provide MISTRAS with local training near their existing offices and provide positive revenue. The current training sites have the potential of netting a total of $330,000 in the first quarter of 2016. The earnings for 2017 could be as high as $2.5 million, and in 5 years, the training facilities could net as much as $8 million annually. These numbers are based on our current Learn Centers and the opening of new offices in 2016 and 2017. It is also reasonable to assume that if these offices do well, that there is potential to open other offices in other underserved areas. In the first quarter of 2016, MISTRAS will show a return on investment of 84%, and by 2020, MISTRAS will have a net present value of 31% with a 98% return on investment. This is a solid investment of resources and will be a financial benefit to MISTRAS.